So Enzo Maresca, a very lucky manager who's gone from Manchester City's academy to Leicester to Chelsea. From the best academy to the best championship side and now the biggest budgeted Prem side. But there's a lot more pressure because Todd Boehly is in charge and he could sack Enzo. So the Italian manager has to make an impact here. Selling Chelsea players that don't want to be here and rebuilding them to make them the world's best team. As yes people, hello, and it has been a while since a managerial save. We did slot at Liverpool. And now it's this man who doesn't really look like the man that he's supposed to be, as there's a lot of rules today. As it is an Arne slot rebuild. And the first thing, of course, is we've got to sell a lot of players. 5 from the first team. And the bench, which could be Mudryk, or it could be Jackson. Or even bloody Cole Palmer, who's the best player at the club. And another thing, like he has done already a little bit in real life, is we can only sign from ex-clubs that he's managed or played for. As then also we have to play a 4-3-3 formation. It was the last one he played with Leicester, and he's taking it into Chelsea, with the final aim being to win that Champions League before Todd Boehly can sack him, which he probably will do. As all I have done is change the formation. So everybody you see here on the bench and in the starting 11 have to be sold, or at least 5 of them, but any of them. So maybe it could be Casaday and this man, the Finnish player. It would be a bit of a cop-out, but they do count as squad players. And I'm transfer listing him first because I want to make the money off him to get that money into the club and then complete the objective. As before we set the team up, 150 million in the bank. Like I said though, we can only sign from previous clubs, which he's played or coached. So let's get to business. But before we do any transfer business, we've got to pick a style of play. And I'm going to go tiki-taka. As enough tactic talk though, the players that we're playing. This is the starting 11 I'm going with. One player I dislike, Cucurella. He is in as left back because he's younger than Ben Chilwell. I'm watching him closely though, as if he sings his Spanish song, he's kicked out of the team. As speaking of Spanish players, Sanchez I want to replace, but the only problem with him though is he didn't start in the starting squad. So if we go ahead and sell him, he doesn't count as a starting player sold. So I'm going to try and sell Petrovic instead, and I would have wanted to keep him, but no, not going to do it. I'm going to let him go. As speaking of letting go as well, Connor Hall, Maatsen, I'm going to release all of those players that aren't going to go back to Chelsea. As I'm also going to get everyone on the training drills, including Romeo Lavia, who's going to be a centre-back. And this challenge could actually be a lot harder than thought because I'm looking for a goalkeeper from one of Enzo's ex-clubs. And Szczesny's really the best, but do I want Wojciech? Not at all. I've got to try and find a keeper, as maybe we take a hit and we go for a player from his ex-club who is lower rated than Sanchez, but Mads Hermansen. Another Leicester signing, just like Dewsbury Hall, who I didn't put in the team from the start, but I've gone ahead and signed. But before Hermansen comes in, we've actually got a sale from the first team I didn't realise. But Raheem Sterling. Didn't have plans for him really. We've got Mudryk and Nkunku. I'm training as a left wing. Palmer on the right wing. It's going to be beautiful. But first, this man is, of course, Hermansen's finally arrived with his old manager. As a lot of stuff happening here at Chelsea because another outgoing, it is Trevor Chalobah going to the rivals in Spurs. As I'm going to change the team after player sales, and I'm going to go like this. Nkunku on the left. And I'm going to bring in another striker. Want a powerhouse player, a Jamie Vardy-like player, and Dusan Vlahovic, well, I think he's better than Vardy. So in comes another player, and if you're wondering about Juventus, I don't know if I've said it already, but he did play for Juventus. Enzo Maresca, of course, as there he is into the club. We've paid 75 million. A big budget bit, as we don't have to tick off every objective straight away in this rebuild, as another first teamer leaving, Ben Chilwell out the door to Bilbao. So we've got to remember we have sold 3 first teamers, 2 more to sell in other seasons, of course, to make this Chelsea rebuild realistic, selling and buying players, as I've gone and looked in the Champions League and then remembered Chelsea aren't doing it. Yeah, last year in real life, not a good IRL season, but if you want to wish us luck in this save, there's one thing to do. And that is to smash a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. It actually does help the luck in these saves and keeps these saves going. As this is the team at the end of the season, weird on our strikers that no one's actually played. Maybe it's put Nkunku up front? I don't know. And Fofana, he's been injured. Don't know how long for. Caicedo's not been playing. We've got position changes to make, which hopefully makes up for lost ground because, of course, players not playing means their ratings haven't gone up that much. Nkunku to an 88. He's a lot better as a winger as Cole Palmer to 85. Finally realistic, and Madueke to 80. Liking these improvements should make the players easier to sell as Mudryk goes to 81. Brilliant from the Ukrainian. Lavia's going to be a centre-back at 76 rated. Not too good actually, but Caicedo 83. The only player to stay the same, as yeah, I'm gonna trust that squad. It should be good enough for next year. Come on. Few more signings, of course. But where will we be next year? Well, we won't be in the Championship, but maybe Europa or Champions League straight away. 4th in the table, and we clung on for dear life. A draw that Newcastle got meant we got through in 4th position, as no FA Cup final and maybe a Carabao Cup to go with it. Nope. No trophies. And am I too hurt from that? No, I'll be honest with you. We've got a lot of good ratings, including Dusan Vlahovic, who I just wish would have started, as this just starts as it means to go on. Like real life, Cole Palmer is the top scorer. So season number 2 and season number 1 very good. We've got the Champions League, but we've got to complete the objectives before we can try and win that, as 180 million plus just selling 2 players should have the job done. Yeah, we've just got to get rid of 2 players you see on screen, but the only issue is which 2 do we get rid of? Because everyone in this first team and everybody on the bench I absolutely love and want to play. Maybe Badashile? That actually rhymed, didn't it? As we've got a lot of players as well down here who are running out of contract. The likes of Kepa, who I might as well transfer list now. Or do we actually give him another chance? Because he's 82 rated, the highest at the club. He will actually get a shot over Sanchez, who's on the bench now at 81 rated, meaning we now can sell Petrovic and a lot of the players down here, because a lot of these players won't get played at all under me or under Enzo Maresca, as one of his ex-clubs is Bologna, and Lewis Ferguson, the Scotsman, at 24, looks brilliant, and he grew a lot in our Scottish save. If you do want to see that video, it should be in one of the cards here. As before we get him in though, business is hectic here. We have sold Petrovic, so 1 player just to sell now from that original first team. And could it be this man? Look at all the bids we're getting in, man. But Malo Gusto. Well, I was considering Malo, but then I've just seen Badashile. So many offers. They just cloud my brain, as I want this man out the club. So fingers crossed he leaves. But in the meantime, that's signing another central midfielder. I feel bad for Dewsbury Hall because he's just arrived, but he's straight out the team for Ferguson, who will train as a centre mid, as I probably want a centre-back next. As Chelsea's got a theme at the club, they love French centre-backs, and we could add another one in Tanguy Nianzou. Think this man was at Bayern and Enzo was at Sevilla. I'm going to try and put a picture on screen for proof for every club really, as we should get him in sometime. And yes, Badiashile, he's left, making room for him, and now we've sold 5 players. And if you did forget season 1, there's the 5 players sold. I think the only one I really will regret is the goalkeeper Petrovic. But then we've got Kepa, and now we've got Nianzou, who signs on the dotted line and becomes another centre-back, who I don't think will start, but I'll put ahead of Fofana anyway, as he might get more game time, as this is our Champions League group. Imagine if we actually won it, season number 2. I mean, that group was a little bit difficult. Let's see the league. Okay, that's a brilliant start. 1 for 1 on trophies, and in 2 years' time, Enzo wins the Premier League, beating his old club City, or his senior old club, because he was only the under-21s coach, by a point. And basically a draw. Draws can win you titles, and maybe our defence as the FA Cup final. QPR and Forest? Is this the early 2000s? As Carabao Cup goes to Arsenal, another London rival. But what about the Champs League? Before we see the team, as we did win our group, moving into the knockout rounds where we faced Inter and our Italian coach, losers to an Italian side. 4-3 on aggregate. Basically just unlucky. I wish we would have lost prior and actually fallen into the Europa League, maybe squeezed through it right there. What's happening with our midfield? Gallagher not playing, Caicedo not playing, and no change in EAFC here. James is always bloody injured, meaning Gusto played, as Dewsbury Hall and Ferguson are the ones actually getting the game time. So I'm going to put Fofana back in, as he is the better player, with a 90 rated Nkunku, an 87 Palmer, and an 87 Enzo. We are Premier League worthy winners. Our team's very high rated. Vlahovic scores a lot. Cole Palmer, top scorer again, at only 23 years old. And our team's looking very decent. Could we actually win the UCL 3 seasons deep? So Enzo doing very well here with the Blues, but one thing I've realised, he will never see this kit I've got on, because it's this season's. If you do want this one, or even the new one, check the sponsor in the description, Soccer Deal Shop, and use this code on screen. Helps the channel and myself, as this is how it is looking, and I mean in the Champions League, not much to really improve upon. Maybe swap Hermansen for Sanchez, just for now, and then maybe just keep training Ferguson, who's on the bench, to a central midfielder. As one player I'm actually intrigued upon is Mudryk, but he's not improving as well as, of course, Nkunku, so I might not go for a left wing. But then one of the players I have in mind is a left wing. It's really difficult, but we're just going to keep on going and see where the wind takes us here. We've got a pretty solid squad, and of course we do have Todd Bowley money, 239 million, literally astonishing. As what does Todd actually want? Well, he wants the Champions League winning, and then a Champions League place. He actually doesn't expect the title. As no pressure on domestic wins, just got me buying coaches. I've put a lot more onto attack, and I will show you the reason why. Because I should have seen this sooner, but Ferguson can actually be a better striker than he can centre mid. And it's worrying for this man, Nicholas Jackson, our current backup, and I am going to try and sell him because in a previous save we used him lots. It'll be linked somewhere on the video, as I have avoided one team that Enzo of course has coached, and that's been Manchester City. But now we finished above them, Kevin De Bruyne. There's no Courtois at the club. Maybe he wants to come and win things again? He's not getting any younger, and we have overtaken City, so 60 million should do the job. Okay, they want 68. Whatever, we're rich. We throw money around for fun, so our new number 7 into our midfield again, Kevin De Bruyne. He actually might be our only signing, because of course our weakest position is centre-back, or should I say backup centre-back. But Nianzo I want to trust just a little bit longer to see if he turns out good. So Gallagher is out of the team. That's a juicy lineup. Just about selling players now. As you can see, Levi Colwill leaves to Forest. A lot will go out though before we see our Champions League group. As there's all the players gone out, you can see Santos, Casadei, Jackson, Ogachukwu, and they've all gone out before we see that group, which finally we'll lock eyes with. And Juventus, who we signed Vlahovic from, they're coming for revenge, and we've got to try and stop them. And I'm not actually lying to you, but can we win it all in season number 3? Because that would be a record breaker. And that's trophy number 1. We've beaten United in the FA Cup. Get in there, Blues. And get in there, Maresca. Trophy into the cabinet, but when I take that cabinet away, we're going to get it back. Because we've won the Premier League. 1 defeat all year. So close to unbeatables, but 12 draws was pretty mid. Still, 87 points. Very good. As then the Community Shield, we won it on penalties. And the Carabao Cup, lost it to Arsenal. Close in everything. It's all going well until I show you the Champions League. Look at what I'm seeing. Bottom of Group C. C should have been for Chelsea. 3 points, 0 wins, couldn't even beat Praha. As Bayern Munich, who were in our group, actually made the final. And Enzo's got some impressing to do because that was bloody dreadful. Don't forget our objective was to win the Champions League, and the League and Cup ones, they didn't really matter as much. And I know we've just won a double, but with the players that we actually have and with the goals we're probably scoring, we need to be better still. Come on, we did all that bloody work to not win the Champions League, and you've got to know where we're going wrong. Well, I already know. It's the defense. Fofana didn't budge. Sanchez is 82. Hermansen on the bench has been playing, and Nzanzu not improving. Besides, it can't be our attack. We have got a 91 on Kunku, a 90 Cole Palmer, an 88 Vlahovic, and a newly striker positioned Lewis Ferguson for the bench, which is still very unusual, but hey, we're gonna rock with it. As 290 million, and you know what we are chasing. We've just got to get the Premier League one. We've completed all these objectives. But is there any defenders from the clubs we've only got to select from actually better than Fofana? Will be hard to find one, as these are our best options from actual clubs he's played for. I'm not going to go to City again. I feel like I just don't want to, as De Bruyne was enough, and it's unrealistic just signing from them. So Federico Gatti, I'm not going to say I'm a big fan of his. Our only decent option, and he is an Italian like the manager, but still, a goalkeeper's going to be difficult. Szczesny near retirement, Sevilla just got rid of Bono, and now Hermansen was probably the best in the championship. But how's this for luck? When I look back in the championship, Cohen Casteels, he's part of West Brom, and he's better than Sanchez. Sure, he won't be for very long. And Enzo Maresca played minimal games for the Albion, as he's going into the first team, of course, straight away. And I actually missed his walk-in because of something special. He's finally gone. Jimmy is out of the club. You don't understand how long it actually took to sell him. I've actually lost my beard in waiting for him to leave, as please, not again. Don't fail in the Champions League. Fingers tightly crossed as we start in with the table, and of course we've won the league. That's 3 on the bounce. You don't even have to even doubt it. Maresca equals Guardiola. And it's embarrassing we're not winning the Champions League by now. We've actually won the Champions League when finishing mid-table before. Should be near the final this year as Everton win the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. If I can actually click on the button. Liverpool. What? Right, I'm going to check on the Champions League while still speaking. And we're not into the final. Okay, now, how did this go for us? We did top our group unbeaten. Then, in the round of 16, hammered by Dortmund. Dortmund, seriously. Their main striker at the club is Tammy Abraham. And then they've got Fulkrug, 78 rated. It's embarrassing, because I'm going to flick who they're compared to. And you won't believe our ratings. Look at those. We've got 4 over 90. Cucurella, Sideshow Bob, he's now up to 87. As we've got 2 86 rated right backs at one club, and we're not winning the Champions League, as guess who is leaving us? Hermansen, sad, because I thought he was going to be the future, but also Kevin De Bruyne, as he wouldn't sign a new deal. So welcome back to the team. Conor Gallagher into Chelsea, and I'm still thinking that defence, Gatti and Didassi, it's a disaster more like, as 390 million, and I'm pretty sure that joke I made, not the first time I've made it. As 3 Prems on the bounce, and they want us to hit a 4th, and of course hit that Champions League, because I'm thinking now about real life. If Enzo, yes, he's won the league, but didn't win the Champions League with these lads, I think Bowley would probably execute him rather than just sack him. Or maybe that's a bit extreme, as we are going to go to Sevilla. I think that's our best option for players. Ooh, as I think they've just signed him, but I'm going to try and steal him straight away. Malik Thiaw, the German centre-back. That's a good one to steal, but look who's in their midfield. Warren Zahn Emre. Sorry to Conor Gallagher. I haven't even signed one, but I just know with the money in the bank, I am going to be signing all over the shop. Yep, let's pay his release clause. This is our De Bruyne replacement, and yes, I could have got him cheaper, but with the money we have, we don't really need to watch the finances. As Warren welcome in, of course, I'm going to bring your new friend. I think they both just went to Sevilla, and we've just swooped in like an eagle. Taking both and putting both straight into our lineup. But one thing I've noticed about the bench, looks like Ferguson walked. So what I actually might do, and this is a huge risk, but I'm going to do it, Christopher Nkunku coming off the wing. Gonna be a centre forward and actually start in the lineup. Yes, Vlahovic on the bench. That's 290 rated strikers. And there's a reason behind the madness. Federico Chiesa. He is 90 rated. Of course, Italian. And joining Enzo. It just had to be made. It's a match made in heaven. That's what it is. And there's a catch to it, as we now 2 weeks after he signed, and if you noticed, he's still not a winger, as that does increase his rating. And I know it's relative to position, but his stats are better than Vlahovic's, so he's onto the wing. Nkunku's still up front in this. He may get changed, of course, and we may have needed a new keeper, but I'm trusting that lineup. So a lot better than what we had. As a player I've not got the most out of, but I just keep looking at. I was going to say Reece James as a centre mid, but it doesn't work. So it's either the treatment table or he just takes his place on the bench. As let's get past this group, which we actually have Dortmund in. At least they can't knock us out straight away in this save, as Brighton 18th. Now, if you watch the second channel, it should be linked somewhere on screen. They won the league in one of our saves, or they were up there when I'm recording this, as I would sacrifice not winning the league for the Champions League. And it looks like we might be doing that. Of course, I don't know the Champions League yet, but 72 points. We only just got UCL football, as United won the league with 10 defeats. Community Shield, I don't care about. Tottenham in the FA Cup final. Literally just a meh reaction. As Arsenal win the Carabao, no trophies for us so far. But come on, just please. Oh my days, I'm not confident anymore. Dortmund just like beating us. Beat us to top spot. And I mean, I guess we couldn't have drawn them, as we get Stade Rennais. So a little bit of an easier one, and we get past them 4-3. Then we go to the quarterfinals, where we beat Leipzig 3-2. Spurs beat PSG 4-1. Oh dear, the bottle job's doing well. But no! We beat them, as we beat another rival. Juventus beat another rival, winning at Hard Bottle Lane as we get Juventus. And how fitting is this when we stole Vlahovic and Chiesa? As yes, we're only 5 seasons in, and of course we can lose this final. It seems like it's flown by. As Gusto, get out for Reece James. He's into the lineup, and it's no coincidence, as our defense has got better, we've risen in the Champions League. And it's safe to say on FIFA, it is not really hard to rebuild Chelsea. It's our last rebuild of Chelsea, I can assure you, on FC24. Sorry to Chelsea fans, as Nkunku, we need to go out with a bang. Christopher Nkunku, he tries to chip it to Palmer, as I'll be angry if we get beat, in all honesty, because we could have had any of these players, and it's one of the only clubs in the world we actually could have signed from. Vitinha playing for him. Oh, and Evan Ferguson, I would have liked him, but I didn't realise they had him. Maybe he replaced Vlahovic, as he's into the middle with Osimhen. Osimhen into the bottom corner. 1-0 down to Juve. Enzo Maresca's ex-club. Fantastic start, if you ask me. Bought all their best players and now scored against by a player that replaced the one we've got on our bench. Poor goal to concede anyway. It was just straight from a left-hand sided move where Chiesa would have usually been. He's not even there on our field. So poor, as Arne win to Evan Ferguson. Casteels gets down well. He must be an old keeper as well. How old is our goalkeeper? I'm not going to stop to check, of course, as there's a slip. And Chiesa in against his former club. It's a gift, but he's still going to score it. Federico Chiesa, 1-on-1. Marshvili, how have you missed that? Juve still paying him a wage or something? I don't know, as Enzo into James. If Enzo gets it back into Nkunku, and now Palmer. Maybe need to get Cole Palmer involved a little bit more, but James gets his overlap. Now he could maybe, because Chiesa's not done well on his wing, but in the middle, Federico Chiesa. Another block by the defender. And the first half on a whole can only be described as terrible. Come on, Ferguson running at Disasi. He's somehow our bloody captain, and that's a ball onto Osimhen. 2-0. 2-0. We're going to have to complete a comeback, which I don't feel like we can. Maybe time for Vlahovic, but Nkunku, he's 93 rated, and we can't change our formation as Palmer running back a bit, and Nkunku, maybe if he goes off with a goal, maybe Vlahovic can come and finish the job. It says block. Caicedo's shot. Frustrating, as I've actually put Vlahovic in centre mid. That's how annoyed I'm getting. As Osimhen doing his defensive duties, better than any of us, but we have won the ball back. Vlahovic actually up the field. Nkunku, Palmer, it was the perfect chance to slip him in, but the defender just in our way. Come on, just play this round. It is terrible. Terrible. We need a goal pronto, lads. Come on, it is now Caicedo. No movement being made, but maybe Vlahovic. We need a goal back now, and it's in the bottom corner from our number 9. He's just got onto the field. Maybe something in this one. But we need another goal soon. Disasi, brilliant header. Palmer uses Nkunku. Palmer's going a bit more centrally. I don't mind it. There's a slip in there from Bremer, and Vlahovic hammers it. 2-2. And we have come back in seconds. What a slip by the defender, though. I don't know how he did that. Bremer just hit the deck. His ex-teammates scored 2. As maybe signing Chiesa was a bad idea after all. Nkunku should have stayed on the wing. Bremer will have a red face after that, but we'll have a redder one if we don't capitalise on the comeback, and we still lose the game. Nkunku speeding past his man, the left back, it's Cambiasso, I believe. Palmer, oh, almost hit Vlahovic, but Palmer, jump on that. Referee gave a foul, but I don't actually think it was, as now Caicedo, Vlahovic, he's actually keeping the ball very well. He's hit Reece James. If he could hit a man in the middle, it will be a late comeback win. Oh, Cambiasso in the way, but still, that's a good header. It's Chiesa. It's handball, surely. No, not given. Right, we go on to extra time. Think we've got a dodgy ref here. I didn't notice it when they actually took a 2-0 lead. Maybe I should look at the goals back, see if there was anything dodgy. As Vlahovic, no support. Went to go low himself. I don't mind it, as he's got the ball back again, and a bit of a gap. Palmer in front of him. He rockets it wide. Last chance of that first half. I'm scared of penalties just because of our comeback, but then again, we've got a lot of attackers on the field, and Cole Palmer, of course, who never misses. And maybe we could get him a chance before that in front of goal in normal time. Palmer! It's going to go out. Nothing from that, though. And now Jose Gaia. He's come onto the field. How have I missed him when looking for signings? I mean, we have had Cucurella all saved. Caicedo, good spin. Could we avoid the dreaded penalties, be onside? No. Nkunku, hold your run. As yes, him not actually holding it does mean penalties. That's Ferguson. And he's just murdered us with a penalty. I can't actually believe that. Ferguson is at them as Palmer, cold. Absolutely frozen solid. And Ferguson, again? Is this glitched? I mean, we've saved it. Unless there's actually 2 Fergusons, this is against the rules. As Vlahovic, same way. As Palmer, it's absolutely the same thing. As no, Victor Osimhen this time. And I am going to dive to this side. 2 saves so far. Enzo, don't mess this up. Down the middle. Keeper dives the wrong way. And now, sudden death for us at least. Gravenberg, dummy it a little bit. We've gone under the ball. But now we've got the winning one. If Malik Tiao scores, of course I don't change the order of takers. He does win us the game. And he does hit it down the middle. The man signed this year from Sevilla with Zan Emery has won Enzo Maresca that dreaded Champions League. Such a long time coming. Such a long time coming, as that is the trophy in the air. My hands in the air. Wave them like you just don't care. As if you do have another suggestion, comment down below, and I'll try to get to it before the next FIFA.